Welcome, everyone. You're listening to Tatami Talk with Juan and Anthony. This is the home of smooth judo techniques and discussions. I'm sorry, that's the only one only intro I can come up with. Because
no, I like that.
Smooth.
You just gotta do more radio voice. Some smooth judo techniques.
I know. So, with context, if you listen to our last episode, I was supposed to do the intro this episode, and Juan's going to do the outro. And I just came up with this intro like 2 minutes ago, before we started recording. But in my head, it's like some smooth jazz music playing in the background, like welcome to Tatami Talk, smooth judo techniques and hot discussions, like, or something like that, you know. So
you got some was it Cowboy Bebop playing in the background of your head right now?
No, it's like slow jazz, like in a jazz bar. Not Cowboy Bebop is a little too fast, too blues jazz kind of thing. But like, I don't want to say like porno music in the background, but like jazz, slow jazz music, like, yeah.
All right.
I think it would make a good if we do have ads in the future. Like, I think it would be good to record something like that and put it in between. Like, you're listening to Tatami Talk. Smooth judo techniques and smooth talks.
All right, why not? It's different. That's your one. That's your entry. I like it.
Okay.
So, Anthony, get back to normal. So, Anthony, how you doing?
No, I gotta ask that. No, I did the intro, so I can ask that question.
Okay.
So, Juan, how are you doing? I just saw you like 3 or 4 hours ago at judo.
Yeah, we actually just taught a morning class, did the morning beginners class. We actually tested one of our yellow belts that's taken upon himself to learn all the orange belt techniques. Did the whole, like, he said he made some PDFs of it, watched video, hyperlinks, all this stuff.
Well, he was asking me a lot of them too. Yeah.
To learn everything. I love that. I love when you take it upon yourself. If I give you what to look for and you do it yourself, I'm not saying I'm not going to teach you, but you show that initiative, I'll test you faster. You know, that really means a lot to me.
Yeah. So, and we kind of did it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I thought you were done.
No, I'm saying he did that. He did all the techniques. I did a little fun stuff. Like, can you give me a variant of it? Or you want to try a different style? And he did that too. So I was very impressed, and gave him, I was going to say his brown belt.
Yeah.
Did get his brown belt. Give him his orange belt. Give him his orange belt.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations, Peter. I don't know if you listened, but congratulations. And I liked how we asked him questions, like, and it kind of showed he understood the mechanics of it and not just like doing the rote memorization stuff. So that will allow him to make techniques of his own or figure out what works for him or not in the future. But what was I going to say when I interrupted you?
I don't know. You're saying it.
No. So we did an episode before about beginners learning judo, right? And I think one of the things we talked about that was important is that you learn the basics in class, but you still eventually you have to start being in control of your own learning. Like, because in the end, you're only going to judo 2-3 times a week, and it's recreational. You're not training to be an Olympic athlete. It's not part of the high school program like in Japan. So as a recreational adult, you have to do some more stuff. If you want to learn faster, you have to take it upon yourself to learn and utilize the time with your instructors to help you with that progress. So I'm not saying just go learn YouTube and then practice on your wife at the garage for like 2 hours and then say, I'm ready for my orange belt. But
I think that's what you did, didn't you? And then you said, Juan, I think I'm ready for my black belt. You told me.
I wish that was the case. But we're not saying that you should do that, but you should look up videos and then like work with your instructor about it. It's like a partnership, right? Like that's why I do with Philippe. I'm like, Philippe, I saw this on YouTube. What do you think? He's like, that sucks. That doesn't work. And I'm like, why doesn't it work? And then he's like, because if you do this and you do this would happen. And then even then I wouldn't take Philippe's word for it all the time. Because if I'm like, I feel like if I do this and maybe it'll work, then I try it out in Randori or something. And if it doesn't work in Randori, then I give up. But it's like your instructors there aren't, well, you probably disagree with this. They aren't your your masters, right? Or they aren't. You're not their slaves. You're not their like.
Hey, ain't no one my slave. Okay, this ain't those old kung fu movies. Okay, I want everyone bowing before me. Oh, Master
like
Juan, please.
It's not like that back then. How like, especially in Chinese kung fu, you can only like when you ask someone to become your instructor, there's like the casual instructor, and then there's like the official ceremony where you have to get picked, and then you have to do like sacrifice a pig, and then like draw blood and drink. Like there is a ceremony.
Sacrificing pigs at our dojo.
Yeah. No, but basically you're accepting this person as your child, basically. That's why they call them a sifu. Sifu, the fu is like the same word for father. So it's no longer like that where you can only have one instructor and you just do what he says no matter what he says. I feel like it's a partnership, and they're a great resource for you to go. We're already going in tangent from the topic we're talking about, but they're a great resource.
You are going on a tangent talking about this.
They're a great resource for you to bounce ideas off of and help you improve your judo. So, and that's kind of what college is like, I think. So yeah, sorry, go ahead. So how was your day?
That's fine, man. That's good. I like it. That's good. I like all that stuff. No, but I'm just saying, like, you and me, we spent a lot of time together. Like, I actually went to the dojo early this morning to make some more YouTube, some more Instagram videos for judo demonstrations. We had our class. We tested a guy for his orange belt. We had Randori session after that. So we got a lot of that in. I actually did have a very interesting week about finding gis and finding belts. I did tell you about this.
You told me about it, yeah.
But maybe some of our fans might be interested about this. I wonder if other senseis, other instructors have the problems that I'm having right now.
They just order off Fuji. Seriously.
You think they just order off Fuji?
Yes, I do. I know for a fact they order off of Fuji.
Just a cheap Mexican like I am.
Or they have loaners and then they just tell people to buy it online themselves. That's
see, I don't like that. I just don't like that. That's not my style. So what I mean, okay, so at our dojo, we had we have a deal with the Golden Tiger. They're a very reputable company. They sell good stuff. They used to be here in Koreatown, very close to our dojo. So it was easy to get stuff from them. Right before the pandemic, I think it was right before the pandemic or during the pandemic, I'm not sure. They decided to move about 30 minutes away from us. And in LA, like 30 minutes doesn't mean 30 minutes. Like your navigation might say 30 minutes, but it ain't like really 30 minutes.
Just like today when I was late for class, I said 45 minutes. It took me an hour and a half. So yeah.
So they're about 30 minutes away from us, more into San Gabriel Valley. Actually, past the San Gabriel Valley, actually. Yeah, way out there. So if you're in LA area, you know what I'm talking about. So on one day, I had a day off of work and I had nothing to do. I had a COVID test in the morning, did that. And I had to go get judo supplies. So because we needed some new belts, we needed some gis because we ran out of gis.
We had a lot of people sign up lately. Yeah.
Yeah, which is really good. I hope everyone's doing well right now, just getting new students. Put your stuff out there, people. Get new students. This is the time.
Start your own podcast.
No, don't start your own podcast. No, just listen to us. You want to talk? Come talk to us. We're always looking to have guests and stuff. You know, we're interested in people talking. All right. So I drove all the way to Golden Tiger. I get the gis that I need. You know, I get some size 5, some size 6s and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I need the belts. They're like, okay, what size you need? They're like, I need a bunch of size 1s. We're promoting all these kids right now. So I need like 10 size 1s right now, like a minimum of at least 5. I need at least 5 to get me through this week. And they go, okay. They go back. They come back with the gis and stuff. That's all fine. And then I'm like, oh, where's the belts at? Oh, I'm sorry. We're out of belts. I'm like, what do you mean you're out of belts? How are you out of belts? You're Golden Tiger. Just go make them in the back for me real quick or something. They don't know what.
Just go rub the judo gi and the judo genie comes out. It's like, I want 3 more belts.
Yeah, so they had no belts there, which is like just totally threw me off because there's this huge warehouse. How do they not have size 1s yellow belts? And I think I asked for like some 3s. They didn't have 3s. They only had like 2s and 5s or something. They asked if I wanted some 00s. I was like, no, I need some 1s. I really need some 1s. I would love to get some 3s, but I really need some 1s.
We need to get rid of our 00s because honestly, no 5 or 6 year olds are that small anymore. So like honestly. Like some of the kids we have now are like wearing adult sizes, like size 5s. Like I'm like, how are you 10 years old and wearing size 5? Like what are they feeding you?
What are they feeding you? Whole pigs. You guys sacrifice one in the back, right?
Yeah.
So So I get the stuff I need. I just buy the gis and I'm like, okay, I'll just go to another martial arts supply store I go to sometimes. Pro Box. That's out in the valley out here. It's a little closer to me. Okay. It's only like 20 minutes away and it's legit like only 15, 20 minutes away. I call them up. They say they have the stuff. I go there.
The stuff.
Guess what? You have the stuff. Yeah, I got the stuff. You got the belts. I got the belts. So I go there and I hear the lady, she sees me walk in. She's like, oh, and I hear her on the phone, blah, 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 5 this, 5 that. I'm like, oh, she's talking about my order. I know she's talking about my order. She's like, oh, sir, you want to get the belts right? I'm like, yeah, I want to get the belts. I want to get the size 5. I want to get size 1s and maybe some size 3s, maybe a couple other sizes. She goes, okay, well, we don't have them here, but if you want to pay for them now and get them tomorrow, we can do that. And with my work schedule, I don't know what day. Well, I do know what days, but my work schedule is crazy because I had one day off. I had going to be on set the next day. So I know I had no time. And I was like, okay, do I want to pay for them here and then pick them up like next week or something? Like this is just not going to work for me.
Yeah.
And I told her that. She said, oh, well, you can go to our other locations and buy one. You'll pick them up there. And I'm like, I know your other location is over by Pasadena or over nearby Pasadena is your one location, and your other location is over by Santa Clarita. And if you live in LA area, you know that's another 30 to
opposite directions.
30 minutes pretty much either direction I go. And I'm just like, no, I can't do that. And she looks at me like I'm crazy. Like, what do you mean you can't do that? It's like, nah, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Think about those poor kids you're going to promote.
That's true. Hey, my responsibility. All right.
Yeah, I'll just take a size 6 and cut them in half, and bam, 2 belts.
Sorry, little Jimmy, I got a belt for you. So then I go to another martial arts supply store. I know that this one's now in Hollywood, but it's mostly MMA stuff. I go there. They have the yellow belts. They have a bunch of 5s. I mean, they have a bunch of 5s. Keep thinking 5s for some reason. They have a bunch of 1s. I get a 4. I get a 3. Have like, okay, they have all these colors. I'm going to grab a bunch while I'm here. I go there. And this is the most expensive belt that is not a black belt I've ever paid. No, I didn't pay for it. That I've ever been asked to pay for my life. They first tell me they're $13. I'm like, $13 for a yellow belt?
Well, for people who don't know, like these belts are really thin. They're not your normal jiu-jitsu judo belts that you get that are actually thick. They're actually, think about Fuji belts. They're even worse than Fuji belts. And Fuji for me is like the baseline, you know?
Well, it's because yellow belts and stuff like that, like Taekwondo, karate, judo, like that's the first belt every martial arts does. For the most part, all martial arts, majority of them start off with yellow belt as your first belt after white belt. So yeah, they're not going to be like the best quality, and most of them are just plain regular karate belts, and that's all you need. Seriously, you're not competing in it. It's not a fancy thing. It's just a normal belt, in my opinion. So I tell a guy like $13. Like, okay, well, I know you and stuff because I used to know him. He worked at another martial supply store before he opened up his own store. He's like, I know you, so I'll do $9 for you. $9, $9. I was like, screw it, forget it. I'm not going to buy it here. And again, he looks at me like, what? You're not going to buy these belts? Like, I don't give a shit. All right.
Yellow belts. It's like, I'll just use a highlighter and draw over the color. In.
Seriously, I'll just get some yellow duct tape or some yellow electrical tape, and I'll wrap that around the kid's belt and be like, here's your yellow belt. But luckily, I found another martial arts supply store over by Staples Center in Los Angeles. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Over by Staples. It's not Staples no more.
Arena.
Crypto.com. So at crypto.com, found another martial arts supply store there that was surprisingly still open. They had the belts that I needed. They gave me a decent price for them. And I want to do business with them more for belts, definitely, because it's easy to get to. But I might buy some jugis from them as well, just to be nice. Just to be like, I appreciate it.
I don't know. I think, like I said, it's easier to just order wholesale from Fuji. So the quality is nicer and it's cheaper, just as cheap.
It is what you got to do with wholesale. And like you said, last time we did it, took like 2 weeks for us to get it.
Yeah.
Here, I can just, on one of my days off, I'm not on set, or I'm just do a COVID test in the morning, go there, pick up the belts, bring them to the dojo when we need them. This is just like, it's always good, in my opinion, to try to look for or get a martial arts supply store near you so you can get stuff fast. Yep. Because even trying to look for stuff on Amazon is expensive. Like I was looking at belts on Amazon just for fun, just to see, get some belts there. And they were all like $7, $8. I found some that were $6.
I bought Ryan's black belt for $10. It was the Fuji black belt. Yeah.
Yeah. But I found some belts for like $6, but they didn't list what sizes they were. So I was like, do I order them and just randomly get some sizes or something? Ooh, here's a 1. I got a 3. Here's a 4. Here's a 00. Oh my God. I got a 7. Wow. Who is this for? So that was a pretty fun week I had looking for martial arts stuff for our dojo. So I know all senseis have gone through that before though. Like when I was teaching karate, I had one of those situations happen the same thing for me. Wanted to get some karate gis, and it's things that being an instructor, especially for the instructor that buys supplies, we all go through this. I know guys out there probably have the same story I have. All right. Yep. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. So let's get down to one of our main stories today. So last weekend, it was last Saturday, me and Anthony went to so our Udanchikan is Nanka. And Nanka has little coaching clinics, reffing clinics and stuff that are for you to, if you want to get into coaching or get into reffing, but it's also open to any of the coaches that want to go there, look at things, have questions, talk about stuff, discuss things. So we went to it was a coaching / reffing meeting to talk about
new rule seminar is what they called it, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a new rule seminar. And they went through all the main new rules, how many was it? 13 new rules? Is it in total?
Something like that. We mentioned going to the seminar last episode.
We mentioned that we were going to go to it, but now that we went to it.
Gary Takamoto, who's an IJF ref, he refed in the Rio Olympics. He was the one who was leading the seminar.
Yeah. So I recommend that if your Udanchikan has this, wherever you live out of your area, try to go to this because it's great to go ask the coaches, the refs questions about certain things that you're not sure about. It's the best time to ask questions and no question's stupid. I'm just sorry. I'm going to say that, if you have a question you're not sure about and you don't want to be like, oh, I sound a little dumb question. They'll be happy to answer it afterwards also.
Remember, there's no stupid questions, only stupid people.
I was the mean one, right? There's no stupid questions, just stupid answers. Like, oh man, Anthony being harsh today. Damn. So what did you take from the clinic? Did you learn anything?
Well, you're really putting the spotlight on me. I honestly.
No, I know. Okay. Okay. Hey, ask it to me then. Ask me first.
So no, I'll go first. So I'll be honest. All right. There was nothing I came out of the seminar knowing that I didn't know before already. Other than it just confirmed my suspicions that there's a lot of gray areas, like I mentioned in the previous episode. There's a lot of gray areas. Some of the answers people don't even know the exact answer to, and they said we'll have to ask the IJF. Like he even said you can email IJF or what's his name, the visor guy, the head of the IJF. So you can email them and they'll actually, if they respond to you, they feel like it warrants a response. So
if they feel it warrants a response.
Yeah. So I'm just like, well, that's basically like not saying anything, So, but I still think it was worth going, not because of the rules, because again, I asked questions, I didn't get a satisfactory answer, and I already knew what the rules were already, because of the YouTube video. But it was nice to go because we got to meet people, especially with COVID, like so many dojos shut down. And it was just nice to see people and be around other judokas, and talk about judo. I'm sick of talking judo with you. So,
you're sick of talking judo with me? Oh, screw you then, Anthony. All right. This podcast
on the final episode of Tatami Talk. No, but it was just nice talking about judo with other people and hearing other people ask questions that probably didn't watch the video or read the rules like I did. And I always enjoy this kind of stuff, which is why tomorrow we're hosting, Philippe's hosting that coaching clinic. And this would be like my 8th time taking it because I help him with a projector. So I just sit there and listen. I just enjoy the different people that come every session, and then they have interesting discussions at the end. So, So even if if you don't care about the rules,
different people's perspective always. That's how I think of it.
Yes,
like what their perspective on it is, and what our perspective and how it may change. Because there was one coach that's I know. God, I don't think he watched this podcast. Probably not. His kid might. I don't know. But
please don't.
But
no, please don't.
I know it's not a black belt. I know it's not a judo player, but is a coach and does everything else, but didn't do judo themselves. And I think it's always interesting when I see those kind of parents or those people that are into judo because their kid, but they didn't do judo. So it's kind of interesting to me to see their perspective on things and their understanding. Because I know one of the discussions they had on there that you brought up to me a lot was the reverse seonagi. Always comes back to reverse seonagi.
Yeah.
And
that was the most painful part of the whole clinic.
Well, it's this thing. If you're a judo player, you know what reverse seonagi is. You're coming to
a lot of them
don't.
A lot of them don't. That's the thing.
I don't get that. See, you're going to the outside. That's what makes it reverse. Now, if I come in from Moroto seonagi or same side Moroto seonagi, and this is a big question. This is a question that someone had there. And then you told me that they actually had it online too at your Reddit.
Yeah, and I'm just accounts. I literally want to yell at these people and be like, okay, do you know how to do reverse seonagi? Like, okay, yeah, do it. Show it to me. Right. Or
do you even know how to do regular seonagi? Because if you're getting these two confused, you don't know the difference.
Yeah.
And it always go back to that joke that I always tell about how that one instructor was like, kochi ochigari. Or what do you mean? Kochi or ochigari? Kochi ochi. He did not know that there are two different moves. He thought they're the same move.
Yeah, it's kind of like ogoshi and ukigoshi to me. I feel like they're two separate throws. They feel totally different. If you know how to do them, you shouldn't be. For example, if they said they banned ukigoshi, let's just say they banned ukigoshi, right? Then if you're telling me like, well, what about ogoshi? Like, what about this ogoshi? What about just sidestep into the ogoshi? What if I like slap the guy in the face and then do an ogoshi? Like, I'm just like, that's how I feel. That's the feeling I'm feeling when people ask these questions. I'm like, that's not reverse seonagi.
Yeah. So, but the question was that if I go in for seonagi, like a same side grip seonagi, I come in and he slides off the top of me. Would that be considered reverse seonagi? It's like, no, because you're not coming to the outside. The whole point of reverse seonagi, not the whole point, but you're doing a reverse seonagi that I'm coming to the outside of you. If I'm coming inside of you, whether it's same side, different side, ippo seonagi, that's regular seonagi. That's a regular seonagi. It's what reverses when it's reversing outwards, throwing you onto your back.
Yep.
So if I come in same side grip and I come in Moroto seonagi and you slide off the top of me and you land,
it's not even shoulder, same side. Yeah, it's not even same side grip. It's a baseball back grip, like literally.
Or baseball bat. Yeah, like that right there. I'm just trying to figure out a way to explain it to people that that can't see what we're doing or don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, even that like baseball grip seonagi right there, you come in and they slide off the top of you. Is that reverse seonagi? Like, no, that's not even the same throw. How could you even get that confused?
Another one that people ask is the same side grip, not baseball, same side grip, like a sleeve and the collar, same side. And then you drop to your knees and do a kataguruma that way, or yoko otoshi. Like, is that reverse seonagi? I'm like, no. Like,
no. How is that even reverse? How could you get that confused from reverse seonagi? I'm sorry if I'm yelling now, people. I'm sorry, but
it is frustrating. How can you
get that confused? How? I don't understand that. And that was another question that even I think I got more confused on it, is the whole thing about finishing a technique with grabbing a leg and stuff. The way they explained it during the clinic was that I'm giving up trying to get a wazari or ippon just to get into newaza. That's the way they kind of explained it. But I'm still watching videos and it's like, no, you use that to complete, but you can still get a wazari, but you can't get ippon. So it's like, can I get the wazari or
that was the unclear point? That was the unclear point that Gary Takamoto said we have to go back to the IJF to ask, because his initial we should invite him on just to talk about this now.
Let's have him on. Yeah. Let's talk to him.
So
Mr. Gary, if you're there, hit us up,
He actually lives near me. So his dojo is near me. But he said that regarding the leg grabbing, we're not talking about reverse seonagi anymore. We're talking about touching the leg, touching the leg. He's saying as long as the end phase of the throw, the leg touching happens at the end phase of the throw, and you end up in newaza or osaikomi. I think it was newaza, he said. Yeah. But basically, you end up in newaza from after that, then it's fine. So in the examples that the YouTube video showed, it was the most common was makikomi, right? So you do, let's say, soto makikomi. For those unfamiliar, you're basically turning and then wrapping your arm around the other guy's arm, while the other hand, your left hand's on the sleeve, right arm goes over the other guy's arm where you're hugging it, and then you're basically rolling onto the floor. like a barrel roll onto the floor. That's the best way I can describe it for people who don't know what it is and just listening. That if you do a sotomaki komi and the guy lands on his side or his front, doesn't fully land, or he posts his arm so he doesn't fully get the wazari, at that point you can grab the leg and then use that as leverage to turn him over. So by Gary Takamoto's definition was that at the end phase of the throw, so I did the sotomaki komi, at the end he's not on his back yet or side, so now I can grab the leg and turn him over, use that leverage to turn him over onto osakomi, like some sort. So then my question was, does that make, by that definition, the legal version of kataguruma right now, which is you drop to your knees and then you pull the arm out and then you try and roll it, flip them over your shoulder like a fireman's carry, but without the touching the legs. So if I do that and I fail because they post a hand out, does that mean I can now grab the leg and flip them over? Which turns into basically a traditional kataguruma, right?
Kataguruma at that point. But you're
at that point. But I'm on my knees. And then the other guys, because he posted his arms out, he's in Nawaza now, technically, right?
Yeah.
So I'm at the end phase of a throw, so I can like
toss him over.
Yeah. So he was like,
see,
yes.
That was a
he
good,
said, yeah. He said yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a very good question. I thought it made sense because we're doing it from the knees. We're talking about like from the knees or on the ground position. What happened though is that some of the other instructors, the instructor is a dad, not an actual judo player, then what about standing? And I was like, you can't do standing because you're not in newaza at that point. The whole point of this is that you have to become somewhat down into newaza and pretty much down into newaza to finish it with your hand. So if I'm in traditional standing kataguruma, I am nowhere near newaza. I am nowhere near newaza.
No, that's not true because dropping to your knees is not newaza. You have to have at least 4. So your 2 arms and your 2 knees, right? At least 2 knees and either your 2 hands or a hand and an elbow or 2 elbows have to be touching the floor for you to be considered in newaza.
Yeah.
So if you just drop to your knees and do kataguruma, you're not in newaza. You're still in tachiwaza.
No, but we're talking about if you're finishing it. We're talking about finishing. So we're finishing it, like you said, and the person went over. We're going to argue now. And if the person over and they put their hands down and stuff, I can finish with my hand.
I'm not talking about your hand. I'm not talking about your hands. I'm talking about the other guy's hands.
Yeah, the other guy's hands.
The uke's hands. If the uke's hands, both of them touch the floor from posting, then at that point, I think they're in newaza, so you can grab the legs.
Yeah. Which, like I said,
yeah,
I'm agreeing with you, Anthony. I don't know why he's arguing with me right now, people. I'm agreeing with them, saying that when it got into when he evolved into standing kataguruma, it's like there's no way you can do standing kataguruma and touch the leg. I agree with. So we clarified that, but the reason he asked that was because of the definition that they gave, made it so that a standing traditional fireman's carry kataguruma would fit that definition too. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying? I feel you. I feel you, but it's one of those things where like I understand where the question was coming from, but you should know because of common sense that you wouldn't be able to do it. That was my thing that annoyed me.
There's no way kataguruma is coming back. So my thing is about the drop knee one. So I want to see someone do it. I know eventually, given enough time, someone's going to try it. So we'll see what happens. But that was my major thing that I'm still confused about clarifying. Mm-hmm. Otherwise everything else is straightforward.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that I thought was interesting that I really didn't pay attention to, and we should, like, it's not a big thing for us, but if you're an international competitor, you have one of your students, an international competitor. It's a whole thing about the patches now. And I didn't realize this, but they said that if you have the flag on your thing or
they can't be embroidered. They have to be a patch. They can't be embroidered.
Yeah. They have to be a patch now and they can't be embroidered, which I agree with Gary about it, that I think grabbing a patch is a lot easier than grabbing embroidery because they're saying that embroidery was too easy to grab or something. Is that what he said?
It made it harder to grab is what he said, which didn't make sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I just think getting a patch on there and make it easier to grab something.
Because I think the threads make it slippery because there's a gi pattern. Yeah. There's a gi pattern. You're threading over the gi pattern, basically, is what I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was something that I thought was interesting that I really didn't pay attention to. But I was like, oh, okay. So if you go to an IGF tournament or in the big tournaments, you have a patch on there. It has to be sewn on now. It can't be sewn into your gi, which was interesting.
Another question.
Which got me thinking about I'm gonna talk about these gis later anyways, but talk about the French gis, how they have that weird rooster thing on there. It's like, so that rooster now gotta be like a now patch rooster instead of sewing on into their gi rooster.
Yeah. So another question I asked that he answered was whether there'd be new IJF label patches. Because if for those who are old enough to remember this, the IJF labels on your gis and belts used to be blue. And then when they changed their gi regulations to make them baggier and all that kind of stuff, they went from blue to red label. So I'm like, okay, now the gis have to be longer, and then the crossing point of the two sides have to be higher too. So does that mean there's going to be a new label? And he said, no, there won't be a new label. So I'm like, how are you going to tell the gi when you go buy a gi? How are you going to tell it apart? You know,
this is actually
you gotta trust the manufacturer.
Yeah, well, this is something I was going to talk to actually about when we talk about the Paris Grand Slam. It was a big thing there, but if you go to the big tournaments, they're going to pull out that UV light, and that UV light's going to you're going to show on that patch, and it's going to show what gi it is, if it's regulation or not. Because I know they got confused between that. You wanted to buy it. They thought that Anthony wanted to buy patches and just put them on.
Yeah, I also why do you think I would want to buy patches and put it on my current gi? Like,
he's gonna cheat. That's why. But yeah, normally if you look at the patch, there's like this little outline that it's just a quick visual thing. You see like what color it is, you see if it's regulation or not. Technology gets better now, things get higher. So now they're going to use a UV light. They're going to splash a UV light on there. If you get to the point where they're measuring you, they're going to try to get you out. Like if you don't pass the visual eyes test, you don't pass the UV test, and they're measuring you at that point, you're screwed. You're totally effed at that point.
Yeah, I forget money, counterfeit money schemes. I want to do counterfeit IJF judo gis.
Well, that's a thing because, like, again, I was going to talk about the Paris Grand Slam, but I talk about it now, I guess. There was a big thing about a lot of judo players being upset about how long it was taking to check the new gi because they're being strict. Because apparently at Portugal, they weren't super strict. They were checking, but they weren't being super strict apparently. But when they got to the Paris, they were being super strict, checking everything out. So I don't know if that meant that they were just looking at your gi itself, or they had you put on your gi, you had to walk through with both your gis or whatever gi you're in practice fight with. And they're measuring right then and there. But I know that was a big thing there. And even with that, if you see someone compete at a Grand Prix or Grand Slam and it says IGF on their back instead of their country, that means they're borrowing a gi. That means that their original gi did not pass the test. And they're using a loaner gi.
It was really funny watching Nagase from Japan wear Adidas gi. Because it was clear his gi didn't pass. For those who don't know, Japanese people usually wear Japanese brands. They don't wear Adidas. So he was wearing Adidas gi, and I'm just like, oh, interesting.
Hey, he got a new sponsorship. All right. New sponsorship. But yeah, so that's why if you ever see that now, that's what it is. You see an IGF gi, that means there's a loaner gi, their gi didn't pass because of length, cut, something. So yeah, so the collar has to be shorter now. The collar length from the neck down has to be shorter, has to come across more. The back covering has to be longer now because to cover the butt. And it's just about making judo fair. I know some people hate it, but I get it and I don't get it. No, I totally understand because you want to make judo fair for everybody. And it's one of those things where I hate saying this, but because judo's not all about the money. We're about like making things for everybody, but it's about the money. You got to sell gis. And if you want to be a competition player, guess what? I bet you in 5 years or 8 years, they're going to get shorter or something. They're going to be like, oh, that gi's too long now. Now you got to make it shorter. Okay. Or we got to do this. So too many people, maybe people weren't buying gis. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just speculating right now, just speculating right here. But everybody had their regulation gis they had for like 4 years already. Like, let's change it up. Let's make the back a little longer, the top a little shorter right here.
I think the idea is that they want to make it harder for the gi to come out of the belt. That's what that's the goal of that, I think. Yeah.
I can see it because there were some gis that I thought was super short, like tiny skirts on some people, that as soon as they would go out there and fight, they would be falling out.
It's like, especially the heavyweights. The heavyweights, I think like when they do the gi check, they suck their tummy in and pull the gi down. You know what I'm talking about?
they have it right underneath, like, yep, I'm good. Oh, all right.
And then they pull the gi down so it meets the regulation. And then after they do the gi check, they let the tummy get back out. So then it pulls the gi all the way back up. So it looks short now.
Yeah. It could be that even.
If you're a heavyweight, tell me if that's what if you've seen people do that. I'm curious.
Tell me that's what you do. But yeah, of course you have to buy new gis. That's I don't think it's a big deal in my opinion. Like, I know some people are like, oh, I just got these new gis made, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I get it, but you have to fight the regulation and you can't be mad about it. They told you what it's going to be. You have to supply your stuff. Okay. Your country or your sponsorships should be supplying you with this. I understand it might get annoying, but it is what it is.
Another thing that he mentioned was he heavily implied that this is going to be enforced in local tournaments too. Yeah. Right. Because that was one of the questions was like, oh, are you guys going to enforce this in local competitions? And he's like, yeah, of course. We don't want to fail. I think these are their words. Like, we don't want to fail prepare our kids for failure to compete internationally. And I'm just thinking like, well, I'll keep that to myself. But anyway, I don't think
how many of these kids are going to be competing internationally. All right,
I don't think they're going to do key checks at local tournaments for your local people. It's always just they're going to check the sleeves, basically.
Yeah. Mostly. Just a visual test, like always. Yeah. The visual, because I've had to request before when they were going to try to, I can't remember which one of our guys it was, but they're trying to like Shido somebody or Hansok Maki somebody because they just did the visual test. And I was like, oh, are you guys going to do the arm test? And the guy was like, no, like I can request that, right? As a coach. And they brought out what's that machine called?
Sokoteki.
Yeah. They brought the Sokoteki, measured him, was like, yeah, he's fine. Like, don't try to, like they're supposed to do that, at least basic test, a down, out, and front, pull the thing, make sure it's long enough here, make sure it's long enough skirt, and you're fine. But you can request the Koseki. You're supposed to be. I don't know if you still can. Things changed.
Yeah. But is there anything else about uniform before we go back to the seminar?
Anything else about uniforms? No, I think that was the most interesting thing about the uniforms I found.
So yeah, the seminar, the requirements was Shodan to attend. And funny story. I didn't read the thing saying that it's business casual attire because you guys left the paperwork on the office desk. And it's like, you just sign it, fill that out before you go. So I just filled it out and brought it and went.
So you don't read what you sign?
Yeah. I mean, I just filled out the information and picked it up. And then when I got there, you guys were like in button downs and stuff. And some people were in polo shirts. And I just came straight from judo, teaching the adults and the kids. So I had like tape around my feet and then I was wearing flip-flops and shorts. And then we also just recorded for those who don't know, we have new videos, short videos up of t-shirt throwing judo with t-shirts. And I realized I had a rip in my shirt out down the side. And then you're like, this is casual. And I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah, because Anthony was wearing, he has these neon, are they Nike shorts? What are they?
Shorts. Reebok, actually.
Reebok. He has these Nike Reebok shorts that he wears all the time. Those are his most like casual shorts. Like, he's comfortable when wearing his neon shorts. That's just how he is. So I walk up and I see him and he's wearing the shirt that I just threw him in like 50 times in already. And it's all sweaty because we sweated when we do it because we were working out hard when we were doing these videos. So I can see the shirt's all sweaty in. He's wearing his flip-flops, these neon shorts. And I walk up to him with the paper. I'm like, hey, Anthony, can you read this part for me right here? Can you read that? And he's like, attire, business casual. Well, I didn't know that.
So I did kind of make our dojo look bad there a bit, but anyway, my point was it'll be nice if another reason I think we should show up to these events other than networking is it supports your Danshikai because there's like a $25 fee, right? So if your club can afford it, you want to support your local judo community basically. So going, these things are good. And what I think they should do is host another seminar for non-shodans, basically. So you're not going to debate the rules. You're just going to tell them what it is.
Tell them the rules.
Tell
them questions. Just listen.
Because a lot of people, recreational people, don't know the rules. Let's just be straightforward. They don't know the rules. They just know,
of course,
I got to throw him or pin him or choke him. Right. And this is a potential revenue stream for the Yudanshikai too, to charge these seminars and then they get to network with people and stuff. Right. And But right now, I think what they're doing is they're charging the coaches and leaving it up to the coaches to tell the students. But I feel like there's always like a game of telephone going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like,
of course.
Like just recently, I was arguing with someone who's a black belt about whether Udigaishi is banned or not. Mm-hmm. And I had to like go online and dig up the PDF saying, look, Udigaishi is banned. And it was like, oh, since when? I'm like, well, it was like last year. It wasn't like a long time ago, but it wasn't like recent either. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so you can't just rely on the coaches all the time. I think you need to educate both the players and the coaches. And for the coaches, the seminars might be better to discuss things like gray areas and stuff like that. But I think hosting like a beginners or like just a general seminar for rules, like intro to judo, would be a good idea. Even like parent, you can recommend parents to go sign up so they don't argue with refs. Like,
oh God,
yeah. So,
yes, of course. Like you're not here to talk or discuss it. I'm here to tell you what the rules are. All right, it is what it is. Hand of God, that is down. Don't talk. All right, just listen.
Yep. So, yeah, that's my idea. But let's see if it'll happen.
No, I think it's a good idea. It's just sometimes you get underbelts like citrus colors or parents, and it just goes into arguing about certain little things, you know, like we have some people that compete internationally that still argue about certain rules, and they've gotten penalized and dinged on them so far in international competing. And they're still like, well, that's a dumb rule. I don't give a shit if it's a dumb rule or not. Yeah, it might be a dumb rule, but that's the fucking rule. Okay. Mm-hmm. I can't run red lights. All right. I want to drive 90 miles on the freeway. I can't do that. Okay. That's the rules. All right. It is what it is. All right. So is that from all the seminar you want to talk about? Do you want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. So we were talking this a little bit before, but so last episode, we talked about how the Paris Grand Slam was happening. Paris Grand Slam. Paris Grand Slam was happening. God, I keep on getting Paris Grand Prix, Grand Slam. Paris Grand Slam was happening while we did our last podcast. And that was that was the first big tournament of this tournament cycle. Mm-hmm. They had the one in Portugal was a Grand Prix. This is Grand Slam. It's one of the biggest tournaments of the year anyways, one of the yearly big tournaments. So that happened. There was a big thing about gis. Like I said, if you're watching, you saw a thing about people like wearing these IGF gis. Some judo players were tweeting out about like gi checks were taking forever. And because they were being stricter on stuff. Another thing they said with the refs is that at Portugal, they weren't super strict with the rules, but they're going to be stricter with the rules going forward now. You know, you had kind of like a warm-up tournament to get used to it. We're not super enforcing stuff. You're getting shidos or getting worn in the back maybe, but now we're going to start doing stuff to you on the mat. So that was a little interesting watching that as well, watching people get shidoed, people like getting, and there was a big thing about people getting confused about reverse onagis, even at this high level about it. So that was very interesting to watch. Running down who did the best. So the top 3 scoring countries was Japan took first. Okay. Japan took 18 medals.
Just like their C team too, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. They sent some good players there, I think.
There's a few, but most of them were the C team.
Yeah. But so Japan went out with 18 medals. They took 7 gold, 5 silver, 6 bronze. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, France came in second, 2 of the best judo countries in the world went out there. So France took 11 medals, 3 gold, 1 silver, 7 bronze. And surprisingly, number 3, the country is coming up, Mongolia. Mongolia took 4 medals. They took 2 gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze. So out of all these major countries that went there, I'm really happy that Mongolia did so well. That's fantastic for them. Anthony, your thoughts on the tournament?
It was exciting. It was nice. We talked about it in the last episode. So let's go back. But
okay, I'm gonna talk about some other stuff that I thought was interesting. Okay, so my player of the tournament. Okay, because I enjoy her stuff. Is let's see if I can. What did I write? I wrote her name down here somewhere.
I thought we talked about it last tournament, but last episode.
Did we?
Yeah.
No.
Not your favorite player, but I thought we discussed the Grand Slam.
Which Bouchard.
Yep.
Yeah. You want to know why I liked her?
Why?
Well, because in one tournament, she beat the current world champion and the current Olympic champion in one tournament. That's badass to me.
That was one time she beat Uta Abe you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed watching her play. I thought she did really well. And if you want to watch her matches, that was at 52 kilos was that one.
Yep.
And I did I say what did I say? 60 or no? I said 50.
52. It's 52. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of her judo style just because it relies so much on that drop Yoko Otoshi. People keep saying Kataguruma, but to be honest, she's doing Yoko Otoshi also fishing for. You like
one of my favorite throws. Otoshi? I like Yoko Otoshi.
You caught Tony with it today this afternoon.
Yeah, I caught an old man with it today playing around. Yes, I did.
It's his throw,
I like
too.
Yoko Otoshi. I think it's a fun throw. I like it. It's one of my favorite throws. So when I see it out in the big ones.
But she just spams it, is what I'm saying. And it's to me, it's similar to drop seoi, just you're spamming to the side, right? And she's also fishing for that kusotogari, basically. If it's too far, she's fishing for that kusotogari, which she gets sometimes. So I'm not saying it's bad. She's crazy good. I'm just not my fan in terms of judo style. So
yeah, he doesn't like good judo players. He's biased. No, but I enjoyed watching her match. I thought to me, she was the player of the tournament. I liked all her stuff that she did. Another interesting thing that I noticed, and this was going to the French team. I've never noticed before. Maybe you might help me out with this, because I noticed it was the French team and the Italian team. So they both wear Adidas skis. I've never noticed before, but has the French team always had the Adidas stripe being blue, white, red? They always had that?
Yeah. And the Irish team has green ones.
Yeah, I've noticed that before with the Irish ones, but I don't know what it was about the French skis that I just really noticed it. So maybe it just popped to me this time.
They always looked like that. Yeah.
It looked really good. I don't know why, it just popped to me. But the thing I noticed that the Italian team also had that on their uniforms. Yep. It was white. It was red, white, and green. And I was like, damn, that's cool. Can I get that from Mexico? Can I get a brown stripe in there too?
I mean, I'm sure you can, but
I don't know.
I'm not a fan of it. Like, I like my judo gi is just white, plain. So
I know this guy's so plain. He'll spend like $1 million on a plain white gi. No, but it's made in Japan, hand woven.
You gotta look at the craftsmanship and how it feels when you wear it.
Yeah, I look about how badass it looks. All right, how dope I look, how slick. All right, the smooth judo. All right,
BJJ then.
Nah, I don't like those gis. I don't want to look at the rainbow. I always get that.
There's a guy who owns a Dragon Ball BJJ gi.
Hey, that's dope. All right, that is the sickest shit in the alley, son. All right.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure we talked about Paris Grand Slam. So
all right, I want to just give another shout out to one person because so Isaiah Ramirez, he's part of the United States team. He fights at 66 kilos. He's been training at our dojo for the past few months now. Like he lives in Los Angeles now. One of the part-time trainers.
He does train at other places too. Like we're just one of the many places he trains at. Yeah.
I was going to give him a shout out. I'm proud of the kid because he went to Paris. It's one of the first big tournaments he's ever gone to. He went 2-1 at the tournament. I think, did I write this down too? I think overall he took 7th place. But the cool thing is that his second match that he had that he won, he beat the French player.
He's a European champion, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, he was a former European champion at 60 kilos. Was Waldi? How do you say his name?
You want me to look it up now?
Waldini? Chicken scratch, guys. I'm sorry. I'm old school. I take notes in my hands.
Walid.
Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Walid. So I'm very proud he beat him with was it a I can't I should have wrote that down too.
It was Kouchi. Was that Kouchi Makikomi, I think it was?
Yeah, something like that. But I just want to give him a shout out. He did well, proud of him doing that, going out there like that. He's actually right now, as we speak, the Tel Aviv tournament's happening and he's there competing. I hope he does well. Good luck. Come back. I don't care if you win the tournament. Just try to do as best as you can. So, and this is the thing that's going to happen right now. We're having a lot of judo tournaments, one happening after another. That's like 1 a month, 2 a month happening because people got to get those points in for the Olympics. We ononly have 2.5 years left, 2 years pretty much to qualify.
Yeah, and that's Portugal and France is so close that I think I think one notable person that I know that competed in both is Rafaela da Silva. The gold medalist from Rio women's, the one that got popped for PEDs.
And got suspended for a little while.
Yeah.
Take a little break.
Yep.
And it was actually a funny video of her training with Ronda, and you just see in her face how much she hates Ronda. Because you got this thing of like, no, it's funny. It's a funny video. You look it up. It's like just seeing her face is like, I'm a world champion, and you're just a bronze medalist. Just look at her face. I'm just like, I can see it right there. I can see that whole I don't like you. But so yeah, I want to give him a shout out. Good job for him. And yeah, like I was saying before, there's a lot of tournaments coming up. So we're going to be probably going over a lot of things lately. If big stuff happens, we're not going to go over every little thing because I know people don't like hearing about that. Is there anything else about the Paris Grand Slam you want to talk about?
No. Again, this calls were kind of inconsistent as usual, which isn't out of the norm. But
yeah,
I mean, it's not terrible, but definitely inconsistent. So.
This guy was sending me a lot of videos of people landing on their sides. Be like, look, Juan, they're not on their side. I'm like, I don't know. When you get those 20,000 camera angles going around slow motion and going like ultra super slow, they click, 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 click. And they show them landing on their side for like a millisecond. Like, yeah, that's Wazadi. I'm sorry. But to the naked eye, it was like, nah, that's not Wazadi. But it was. I know this guy hates it. He does. Anything else, Anthony, you want to talk about?
No, that's
Paris?
it. Let's
no,
move
you're
on
sure?
to the next
You're sure? You want to talk about? All right. Okay. So another interesting thing that happened lately is that we're again talking about tournaments. Apparently Dusseldorf, the tournament supposed to be held in Germany, got canceled. And the thing that came out was that it was funding, Anthony. Is that what they said?
Financial reasons. Basically, I mean, this is why a lot of the tournaments in California got canceled, is because they did the math, and with all of so many dojos closed, and also number of judokas practicing have dropped in general. I mean, we all saw this coming. The pandemic just kind of accelerated it, right? They're going to lose money hosting the tournament. And I was reading people on Reddit talking about it. And apparently since 2002, the membership numbers in Germany for judos basically dropped by more than half since 2002. Wow. So with that much decrease, you're going to have less people, and they've been losing money hosting the Dusseldorf Grand Slam, like the last Grand Prix, whatever, the last few years. Like they've been the last few before COVID, whatever. They've been losing money. So I guess now they just said like we can't do it anymore. So that's why they canceled it.
Just can't have it. So my thing when I first heard about it was that I was wondering that due to COVID is that they didn't want so many foreign players to come to Germany and possibly bring COVID over. That was one of my first things, because the thing saying that it was due to financial reasons, I was like, that's a nice a nice front answer. But I wonder if a back answer was that we just don't want to take the chance of having these people come over, because I don't know what the numbers are in Germany. Yeah. But do you think it could be we don't want a bunch of foreign people that some are vaccinated, some aren't vaccinated? I don't know how. You don't think so?
I don't think so. It's not the Olympics. It's just a judo tournament. It's not that many people coming.
That's still like what? 300 people still coming? I don't know.
I really don't think that's the case. Especially since Dusseldorf is just mostly like, you don't see, it's not that big of a tournament, I think.
Too many international players coming. It'll be just mostly Europeans.
So I think if anything, it's because if it's not pure financial reasons, like they said, like they don't want to lose that much money. I think it's also because in the past, if you go into debt, at least you can be like, okay, we can make it up or something. But with COVID, they probably don't see it getting any better anytime soon. So they probably didn't want to take that risk, or they're afraid of an outbreak and then having to get sued or whatever, like other risks that are non-financial involved, probably. So,
yeah. Well, it's just something to think about, because it's crazy. They announce a tournament, they get on the schedule. People are probably training for that tournament. They might be like, oh, I don't want to go to this tournament because I'm going to go to Dusseldorf instead. And now they got to change their entire schedule over to be like, okay, well, I can't go here to get points. Now I got to go to another tournament, or I got to go to an extra tournament instead.
It'll be interesting to see if they replace it with another place. Because last time something like this happened where they canceled, I think they moved it to Zagreb or something like that. So, we'll see what happens.
Well, something that's interesting that happened is, and I noticed when you told about Dusseldorf, is that The U.S. used to have, oh God, what was it? The Miami Grand Prix or something like that. What was it called?
It's not Pan Am's, are you sure?
No, it wasn't Pan Am. Like there was an IGF tournament in Miami like 2-3 years ago. And it was supposed to be the American one. I know a lot of people were upset about like, why is it happening in Miami? Why is it not happening in New York or Los Angeles?
Are you sure? That doesn't sound right, but.
You sure? I don't know. Maybe I might be wrong. Look it up for me, Anthony. You got the computer with you.
I'm not going to look it up now. It'll take me a while.
You're not going to look it up now? Ah, come on. Yes, he's looking it up, people. Thank you.
It's for cadets. World Championship.
It was only for cadets.
Yeah. 2013.
2013. No, it wasn't 13. It wasn't that long ago. God, what was it? I know there was something. It wasn't for cadets.
World Championship Miami cadets.
Huh. Whatever. But it's just interesting that the United States doesn't have a tournament here in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that with things happening, I probably won't happen anyways, but do you think there's a thing that the US could maybe get into it and host a tournament?
No, never. Never?
Especially
not, well, not never. Maybe in 1,000 years, no. But,
1,000 years.
Seriously, the closest we got to getting an event here was in Canada, in Montreal. And that was before COVID. Mm-hmm. And the numbers were pretty bad. Like the participant numbers were pretty bad. Yeah. So I don't think anyone's going to go like, unless they offer more points. But Canada's a bigger judo country than us. And I just honestly don't see them hosting it here, especially with judo, American judo in the state that it's at. Plus our, oh man, I'm just going to get us in so much trouble. Our refs aren't, let's just say we don't have like the best refs, right?
No, so, hey, they be bringing IGF refs over, okay? It won't just our refs, they're bringing IGF. They will,
refs. They still need infrastructure to support it. Like the IGF refs don't get paid. Like people don't know that. They don't get paid. The IGF refs do not get paid. I learned that like a couple of years ago at a clinic. At a clinic. Again, it was at a seminar. At a clinic seminar. So yeah. That's why I don't see it happening here. We don't have the experience, the interests, the judo pool of people to do it. Plus, it's expensive unless you host it in like freaking Wyoming or something, like which nobody's even less reason for someone to go to.
All right, well, here's my take on it now. Okay, I think the mysterious Miami one I'm thinking of that. I don't know if I'm being Anthony's trying to gaslight me, I swear, or something. The mysterious Miami one that I could have swore we had, but maybe we didn't. I could have swore we had one. The Miami one or the one in Canada stuff, and why we don't have big tournaments in Mexico, Brazil, and stuff like that, or Brazil does and stuff. But I bet is because all those lazy mother over there in Europe and Asia don't want to fly all the way to the United States and compete just for one weekend. Because think about it. If you're in Europe, going from Great Britain to France to Dusseldorf to any other country, it's just a train ride away. It's all right there. France is the size of like the United States. Okay. You got all these countries inside there. Even from Asia, going over there isn't that bad. But from what I've heard from people that travel, like you did the traveling stuff when you go to Japan, going from there to United States is just hard on people for some reason.
It's hard. The time zone, like competing, like you have to put that in account, time zone. And that's not the only reason. Like, if you give a lot of points, people will come. But like you said, the cost is more. So you're going to have to make it a Grand Slam event for people to be worth it to come to get those points. But also people forget a lot of these people that go compete, they don't just compete and then go home. A lot of them, some of them do training camps afterwards. So they're maximizing the return on the money that they're spending. And it goes back to what I said. We don't have the pool of judokas to do these quality judokas to do these kind of training camps. We do have good judokas, just not the quantity and the quality to do these kind of training camps that these people would probably stay for. So why would they pay like for me to fly? Okay. When I lived in Hong Kong, to fly to Japan or Thailand or whatever, it would be like $200-300. And then it's like a 5-hour flight. Right. 4.5 hours. Some people do same day trips, go there, do a bunch of shopping, come back on the same day or the next day or a weekend trip. But from here, LA to Tokyo, it's like a good 11, 12 hours. And it's like the ticket on average is between 1,300 and 2,000 for like a regular economy ticket. You might catch deals for 700, but yeah, that's a lot of money. You have to maximize your return on that. So
they can come to Hollywood Judo, train with us. Come on, guys, come over. I totally accept everybody. All right. So I get that. That's a great point you have there. But here's my other question now. So be 4, 5, 6, 6.5 years, 7 years, LA is going to be hosting the Olympics. Usually the way that IJF has been doing it lately is that the year before the Olympics is held in that country, in that place, they tend to have the World Championships there. So in 8 years, when we have the LA Olympics, is the year before that, do you think we're going to have the LA World Championships?
That's a hard question. If you're going to force me, like you make me bet something on it, I would bet no.
Oh, come on.
I would just bet no. Seriously, it's not.
No.
You got to remember, it's not just logic. There's a lot of politics and money and let's just say, let's be honest, corruption in the background. Just like any organized sports, like FIFA, Olympics, any sport, right? Any large organized sports, there's all that stuff going on. And if it hasn't been happening now, I don't see it happening later on, So
no, but they usually have these world championships there the year before is to make sure that the venue can work, that everything's going to work fine, that it works smoothly to have it done there. So I hope that they do. I would love to see it happen.
Was there an Australia World Championships? I don't think so.
Look it up. Australia. That was a while ago. How long ago was Australia?
Sydney. It was Sydney, like 90 something. So I don't think they had a World Championship in Sydney ever.
Because they had a World Championships in China, they had World Championships in Australia, World Championships in China, they had World Championships in Brazil, they had World Championships in Tokyo, and they're supposed to have World Championships in Paris.
It's always the same few countries with some minor exceptions. Like there was one in Egypt one time, but no, never Australia. It's always the same few countries. Always.
Damn it. Yep. Well, how did Brazil get it then?
They're a big judo country.
Come on, people, bring it to LA. I want a judo world championship here in Los Angeles.
We need to do a lot of self-reflection before we start demanding for these kind of stuff.
Self-reflection.
Like I'm talking about the American judo needs to do a lot of stuff, but just not even self-reflection. There's so much stuff that's wrong that we just need to, we can't just start thinking it's kind of like, how do you say it? Okay, I don't want to make a really shitty analogy, but
go ahead. You make a bunch already. Don't worry about it.
Just imagine, like, let's say hypothetically, we just like Germany. Let's say our numbers keep cutting, and let's say we only drop down to like 300 judokas.
Wow.
Let's just say
300 judokas. Let's just say in California alone. What?
Let's just say in California, right? Because let's be honest, we don't travel to Miami to compete. I don't expect Miami people to come here to do training camps, right? Mm-hmm. So let's just say they drop to 300 and then you go and say, hey, we demand to host the world championships here because the Olympics is going to be here next year. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. Like 300 is like an extreme, but that's basically how I feel like American judo is right now. We're just don't have numbers. We're like basically gushing blood out of our neck and we're just trying to survive. And you're like, I want to host the world championship, like
old school Japanese film. What do you mean? What's wrong with me? Monty Python. 10 bucks to scratch, sir, but your arm is gone. You're on one leg.
Yeah, basically that's what it feels like to me. The Monty Python sketch. So Nicholas Gill, when I had the clinic with him, he said it the best. Like 2028 isn't that far away. It's really soon, but it's not hopeless. There's time to fix everything. But with the way that things are going, I don't have much confidence, so and COVID's just making it worse. So
true. I give you that. And I think a great way to end the podcast right there with Anthony being so unoptimistic, being such a Debbie Downer.
Well, I thought we were going to talk about Tel Aviv Grand Prix briefly.
Do you want to talk about Tel Aviv a little bit?
No, I'm just really quickly. Not even like going in depth, but mostly I watched through it real quick. Kind of disappointed, and I always never really watched Tel Aviv Grand Prix in detail because I'm always disappointed when I watch it. Just because they don't really send is a bias. They don't send my favorite judokas there ever.
Yeah, because one of the smaller tournaments,
smaller tournaments, you see a lot of like Georgian, Mongolian, Kazakhstani style of judo, where it's up close wrestling type. So it's not my favorite to watch, and there's just too many Shido calls. Like, sorry, I'm a little stuffy. There's just way too many Shido calls, and it's not fun to watch. And I think a lot of it has to do with France's style of judo, because there's a lot of French judokas there. They just kind of play the tactics to bait Shidos and stuff. Yeah, and goes back to what we said when we went over the rules. I'm saying you can get a Shido for anything now. You might as well just add a fourth Shido. It used to be four Shidos.
Yeah,
so you might as well add back the fourth Shido. So that's just my opinion of the whole thing.
Yeah. One other little side note other than that one is that I was going to talk about this during the Paris Grand Slam, but this is something that I saw, and again, I think Anthony's trying to gaslight me because I know Anthony hates being told that.
I'm Tel Aviv, not Paris.
So, it was the European Judo Union actually put out a video after one of their tournaments that was right after Paris Grand Slam. They actually put out it was a video on YouTube, but I saw it on Instagram as well. Them actually apologizing about calls, being that we know we did some bad calls. And I could have swore I saw this video because I saw it on a bunch of other people's videos too, but I couldn't find it to post it when I looked for it. Apologizing for bad calls and saying that we are sorry about some of the bad calls we make. We're trying to understand the new rules as well. And we're trying to look for positive judo now. You know, we're always trying to look for positive judo because the problem is that people are getting shielded apparently for one of the big things that the new big grip breaking rule that people would break grips and then go to like try to go re-engage, but the other person would pull away. And when you did that, the other person had to pull away. If I broke the grip first, I'll get a shield for grip breaking and not re-engaging, which IGF said that they don't like that. That's not supposed to be that way. So it's just one of the things about, I've never heard of the
refs apologizing.
Yeah, ever. Calls. Yeah. And it's funny that it's already gone already. So that was something that's very interesting that the refs actually took some responsibility for it. And I don't know if that was just for the European Judo Union's refs or if that was for all IGF refs being like, you know, we're trying our best. We got these new rules, which is kind of weird because there's new rules every 4 years. But there's also a new crop of refs that they're bringing in. Also, I heard that they've actually like retired. A bunch of refs
you'll notice that you'll see a lot of new faces that you don't see anymore.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of a little interesting little nugget that came out. But when I tried to put it out there, I couldn't find it. So yeah, so that was interesting. Anything else, Anthony, you want to talk about that happened in Judo Week?
No, I'm starting to lose my voice from talking so much. So
all right. Yeah. Sorry there wasn't one giant topic today. We had a bunch of little topics to talk about, but a lot of little interesting judo things came out this week. So you'll see this video come out normal week from now. So I know Anthony talked about the coaching clinic. He said it's happening tomorrow for us. It's happening for now. For you in the future, it would have already happened. All right.
Yeah, make sure to check out our upcoming t-shirt videos for people who aren't familiar with our short video release cadence right now is that our podcast comes out every other week. So in that week between where we don't have a podcast coming out, we release a short video. So
yeah, it tries to be a short video, but they're sometimes getting kind of long.
Yep.
We're trying to pack in a lot of stuff. And the latest series we're doing right now that we're going to splice in with these things is that I hear from people, Anthony hears from people all the time that judo doesn't work unless you have a jacket. So we did some stuff. We're like, okay, well, what are some judo throws that use a gi mostly that are only done with gis? So we did Morotsu Nagi and stuff. Wearing a t-shirt, wearing an athletic shirt, and wearing a hoodie. Could you throw someone? Because we know it's going to work with a jacket. I got a big, thick jacket on. I know it's going to work. But will it work with a t-shirt? And let me tell you this, I'm a spoiler alert. It does. Mostly all the throws we do work with a t-shirt.
And the key thing to note is we didn't plan any of this beforehand. We didn't practice it. We just said, okay, we just hit record and we was like, let's figure this out. How do we use how we used to train with the gi to just grab the shirt, and so you do notice us for some throws, we'll do things that didn't work too well and be like, that didn't feel right because this, and this. So let's try something else. Mm-hmm. So, we're not cutting out any of the, well, at least you're editing it. So I don't know if you're going to cut it out, but we're
anything that makes me look bad. No,
we're not cutting out any parts of the errors which we encountered. It's not one of those pre-planned things. So
we do it live, guys. We're doing it live, baby. All right. All right. So anything else, Anthony? Anything else you want to talk about?
I did the intro. You do the outro.
All right. So please remember to like, share, subscribe, or as they say, smash that like, subscribe button. All right. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram at Tatami Talk. You want to send us an email, you say Tatami Talk. You want to send us any questions, you want to talk about things you want to look at, things you want to go over. Again, that is that is Tatami Talk at gmail.com. You want to follow me on Instagram, that is _Juan. You follow Anthony, that is Anthony Throws on Instagram. Is that it? Anything else?
Yep. Don't forget to.
All right. No, I'm going to say it this time.
Oh, you're going to say it. Okay.
I'm going to say it because it's my turn. All right.
All right.
Don't forget to
slap the mat.
All right.